Oh my God, this is nuts. This is a long. Like, you just gotta buy this. How is it this cheap? How? All right, 3 billion market cap, $10, 300 million shares outstanding. That's 3 billion. Iovance, a mid-sized biotech company, 229 million in cash, another 183 million in cash, so around 400 in cash. They actually have a bunch of equipment, interestingly. I don't know if you can buy a private stock as a non-accredited investor in a big company like that. It's Iovance, it's on the screen. Can you guys see it? Yeah, you should be able to see it. $3 billion market cap. Depreciation is just usually just straight line. You know, there's rarely salvage value of assets. I mean, this doesn't really matter for most publicly traded companies. You want your forecast to be perfect. You have to know the exact equipment, things like that. You could do it as a private company, maybe. All right, does Iovance have debt? Yeah, 1 million, not much. Okay, so basically no debt. It's around a 2.8 billion enterprise value. I did want to mention, since I mentioned not just stocks, but startups, there's a great tool I use. They're not paying me or anything, called Crunchbase. It's a really great tool. I think you should try it out if you haven't. It's actually got some free features, and the paid version is pretty cheap. And I use it to look up investors, especially. So like, if you're, I don't know, let's pick a recent startups. Here we go, Figure. Figure is 70 million. And I will look at something like this, like who is Parkway Venture Capital? Never heard of them. They've only made 49 investments. That's not a lot. But if you look at some of these other ones, like here's an angel investor. Angel investors are usually much easier to get a hold of. These are a lot of like not well-known investors. I don't know these guys, but they've invested in a lot of companies, 172. I know a few of these guys, but I don't know these guys. Really small, 22 investments in Brooklyn. And sometimes it's a lot easier to get a firm like this to invest in your company than maybe A16Z or Sequoia or something like that. Just something to kind of think about. Yeah, I'm not looking for sponsors. I don't need sponsors. That's why people watch me, because I've actually done it. Anybody who needs a sponsor or an ad is a faker. I don't know Korea Therapeutics. I don't care about Bitcoin miners. Is this the Bezos funded one? Nash Gene Therapy? Come on. 270. I mean, this is a crossover, right? These guys will be public. Patient Square Capital? Literally not heard of them. I wonder what that is. KKR guy. These guys want to be like OrbiMed. I wonder how much capital they do have. Apollo Therapeutics. Also led by this firm. Interesting. So it looks like they do PE and just like private, maybe like growth capital. Okay, first fund 4 billion. Not that big. Largest first time private equity fund ever raised. Yeah, that sounds about right. 6 billion AUM. Interesting. Patient Square Capital. All right, thank you for that. Heads up. Oh, Korea is Vivek's brother. That makes sense. I remember when they started this. So Iovance has a product approved. It's called Amtagvi. I remember when this Liflacel was in clinical trials. It's selling pretty well. Illucel. So this is for melanoma, monitor patients for cytopenia, and internal organ hemorrhage. Lovely. Inpatient. Autologous means comes from the patient. So they take your blood. Accelerated approval based on response rate. These are for people who failed Keytruda. So second line metastatic melanoma. Administer a lymphodepleting regimen. Oh, okay, so you gotta wipe out the blood cells, replace them, administer. Wow, okay. So it's made for each patient. And you gotta give IL-2. So you gotta give cyclophosphamide. You basically have to wipe out the bone marrow. Amtagvi. You have 8% chance of dying just from taking the drug. Whew. 156 patient trial. Okay, so they take the patient tumor. Okay, it's 23 days, about 34 days to create the drug. So you have melanoma, you're dying, you go to the doctor, he says, I need to cut a piece of your tumor. I'm gonna send it to the lab. They're gonna make a drug just for you in 34 days. The future is here. 32% have a response. That's not that good. Only 4% have a complete response. Complete response is what it sounds like, full remission. But the duration of response is pretty good. Looks like half the patients have a decent response. I mean, the response rate is low for sure, 32%. But if you're dying and you basically have, at this stage, we've metastatic melanoma, failing Keytruda, I mean, what do you have, 6 months to live? You know, you don't have a lot to do at that point. You have a 30% chance of response and about a 50-50 that that's going to be any good for you. Median potential follow-up for DOR is 19 months. That's a little, to me, that's a little sus because the range here says that it's about 50% at 6 to 9 months. But regardless, it's a drug, it works, and it's, I guess, selling. Was this the first quarter of sales? Let's see. I bet you it's $1 zillion. They have an interim CEO? Current? Do they sell Proleukin? They actually have Proleukin? I wanted to buy that drug too. When did they get Proleukin? Gotta buy that thing, raise it up. Okay, there's the approval, February. It's tricky, they have to like get all these centers to actually do the work to administer the drug. It's usually quite expensive. I mean, the checkpoint inhibitor is doing most of the work here. And lung cancer is like the big indication probably. Endometrial cancer. This will be interesting. The cost of goods is higher than the revenue. That's pretty rare for anybody that doesn't know. So I wonder what the margins at some point will probably get better. That's a little bit odd. I would think that over time the margins will be in the 50s to 70s or 80s. We know from Kite and those other cell therapy companies, Juno, was it? Okay, so they didn't really have revenue in Q1. So all of this revenue from MTAGV is from this quarter, so 13 in revenue. Unlike most drugs, there's no stocking here, right? So all of that revenue is demand. But you would still think there's some like pent up demand for people who wanted that treatment, although they wouldn't be living that long to be pent up. I'm just trying to gauge how popular the drug is. And we have to look at other cell therapy companies to get a sense for how well those drugs are selling. Because they're still pain in the ass to administer. Well, this is definitely one commercial launch worth watching. I think probably a lot of the value is going to come in the other indications. Abecma is not autologous though, right? It's off the shelf. So Abecma just works. This is like, you got to go make the drug just for Mr. Smith or Mrs. Williams. And they wait for the medicine and it costs a fortune. Let's see how much it costs actually. And tag the price. Woohoo! $500,000? Yeesh. So let me get this straight. This thing is $500,000 and you've got a 30% chance. You got a 30% chance. No, this is you got a 30% chance of getting a response. Oh yeah, you're right. You got to collect the blood. They go to a special lab. So $515,000, 30% chance of it working at all. So it's really like $1.5 million to extend your life for 6 months. Whew. Life is the most valuable thing we have. So I'm going to look at the other indications at some point and just kind of like get a sense for the efficacy potential in like lung cancer, because that's also a big indication. Be curious what the margins long-term look like. Probably would be fine. You could see it being a decent long, possibly. I have to keep thinking about it. I think I want to look at Zoom. So Zoom is a weird software company. I kind of consider them to be an enterprise company. $58 a share. By the way, all these models are available on my GitHub. Terminal value depends on the company, right? So like for a certain company, like a drug company, they have very rough terminal value. It just sort of ends. For a software company, depending on the kind of software, the terminal value can be pretty good. Like Google's, gonna be around a long time no matter what happens. Yeah, I don't know the meeting space that well. Obviously, like everyone else, I use the product, but that's not in and of itself enough to have an opinion. This is like one of my first times ever looking at Zoom. It looks like 18 billion market cap. Pretty big market cap. Not a small company, this Zoom. Do you remember in COVID when the stock just went crazy? That was wild. Right, chat? Oh, they have a ton of cash. Ton of cash. Wow. No debt. So it's really like a $10 billion company. Is this real, chat? Can you believe that? 18 billion market cap with 8 billion in cash. What? That's crazy. I can't believe that. That means when I buy the stock, half of it I'm getting is cash. I know. Wow. It's like great downside protection, but you also don't get that much beta, if that makes sense. Okay, here's the revenue. Pretty slow growing company. We'll look at cash flow, stock-based comp, all that stuff. I don't know what calendar quarter this is, so I'm just gonna put it over here. I can't type today at all. I had a beautiful woman over last night. That's probably the first time in, I don't know, I worked too hard. Weeks, months. And I even got some champagne. Not cap. It's not cap at all. Don't do that to me, McNugget. Don't do that. I'm not capping. It wasn't AOC. Come on, beautiful women can't resist the nerd. You gotta see me all suave with a deep voice. What's up, baby? It's Big Skrelly. Yeah. Yeah, no Petrus this time, but we had a nice bottle of champagne, and I'm still feeling it a little bit. I don't drink much these days. But yeah, lovely young woman. You know, I answer all kinds of questions like, Skrelly, why are you so great? Well, baby girl, you know, I'm just that guy. I'm Himothy. Let's talk about, I'm just telling you why I can't type today. You don't need to know about my personal life. That's my personal time, bro. Zoom, $1 billion a quarter. Looks like 200 in earnings, cash flow. Could be wrong, but just off the cuff. Ooh, could be cheap. I like this. It's a sleeper stock. It's beat up, down, depressed. Nobody cares about Zoom. Oh man, I love the Godellians. This guy asked me to look at ASTS 2 days ago, and you know, it's not my day job to look at stocks. I just do it for you guys. You know, looking at stocks isn't my thing. So anyway, the story is this guy is like, hey, look at this stock ASTS. And I'm like, okay. And I'm working. And I have to go to work. I have to rest. I have to do something else. I can't look at stocks like 10 hours a day anymore because I'm not a professional investor anymore. And he says, look at ASTS. And that was the last one that I just missed. And it's up 45% today. And I was like, oh, I never heard of this company. It looks interesting. So the Godel chat is on fire. The other guy recommended Chipotle, which made a lot of sense. I wish I made that trade because the CEO of Chipotle left to become the CEO of Starbucks, which is a major upgrade. And it almost, so Chipotle stock went down, but it's actually bullish for Chipotle that they had such a good CEO that Starbucks wanted him. It means like their operations have to be really great, and it's not going to like fall off a cliff because he leaves. It's actually kind of, to me, at worst neutral. But it's actually kind of bullish because you never want great talent to leave, but it's still like, Stripe's cool. I don't know the numbers on Stripe, but you can definitely buy the stock. It's out there. There's accredited platforms. I'm a part of one of them called Hive. Let me see if I can get the price on Hive. I forget which of my accounts I'm logged into here, but like I'll find it real quick. But I like Hive. Again, none of these companies pay me for promotion. Not that they would. But okay, yeah, I use this one for Hive. So you can actually buy and roll, you know, all the really cool companies with Hive. Yeah, I built Godel with my colleagues. They're actually a broker-dealer too, which is interesting. Someone said I should write a pharma investing book. I wish I had the time. I don't have any time to write books. So let's keep looking at Zoom. Cash flow for 3 months ended was 600. Obviously, that's not annualizable. Or Zoom would be the cheapest stock on the face of the earth. Okay, so they call this first quarter fiscal 25. Pretty amazing margins. This could be a huge long. I'm loving it. And it's not even McDonald's. This is really cool. Yeah, this is a press release. All right, so cash flow from this first quarter, or no, fourth, it's technically calendar fourth quarter, Oh my God, this is nuts. This is a long. Like, you just gotta buy this. Zoom, ZM. Go out and buy it today. This is a, how is it this cheap? How? Do you see this, chat? Do you see this? There's gotta be something wrong with it. A lawsuit, something. Yeah, the site isn't so great. Is this real? I don't know if this is real, chat, because I haven't seen a stock this cheap in a long time. I keep typing the Discord thing for you. It's literally on my Twitter handle and everything. Oh man, this is incredible. These numbers are incredible. I would think at this valuation, Thoma Bravo or someone would buy it out. This is a no-brainer. Competitive advantage. Competitive advantage. Playoffs. 4 billion in revenue, 1 billion in cash flow, 1.5 billion in cash flow a year. That's a competitive advantage. Getting that bread. They got more cash than most companies. They could buy any company they want. Look at this, 1.6 billion in cash flow from operations. They don't really have CapEx. I thought it was an anomaly quarter, but no, they're pumping that cash out every quarter. You telling me I can buy $1.6 billion of cash flow, right? That's 6 times earnings, bro. Yo, buy this right now, B. Man, get my broker on the phone, man. Buy this right now, man. What these people smoking, bro? Easy double. Easy double. Telling you right now. Take that to the bank, man. I never say that. Easy double. Thank you. Who gave me this gem? Somebody's making me rich. Google is no longer my friend. Zoom is now my best friend. 58 bucks. We will see 100. That's all I gotta say. So yeah, Zoom looks good. Liquidity, I don't really, I mean, it tripled. That's that. I think that's it for me now. I really appreciate Zoom can also do a lot of different things with their platform. I mean, but the steady $1 billion in cash flow. I mean, even if that starts declining a little bit, it's really not that bad.